Welcome back, everybody. This week on the Inkwell, we're taking a look at Pelikan 4001 Royal Blue. Unlike the Edelstein bottles, this is the 30ml little brother of the larger bottle that you saw on my Pelikan 4001 Turquoise video. Now, aside from the sticker on the front of my bottle being slightly askew, I really do like the look of this bottle, and, well, glass bottles are always a favorite of mine. You can see the ink on the inside, so you always know how much you have left, and honestly, I just like the quality touch that we get here from this Made in Germany bottle. And another thing about this particular color, the Pelikan 4001 Royal Blue is kind of their standard blue. So when you purchase one of their higher-end pens, some of the M800s like the Stone Garden here, the M101Ns, or some of the others, you do tend to get a bottle of Royal Blue along with it. Now, the sticker is going to be different than the sticker we have here. This is just the base version, but overall, they're still the exact same ink. And it's a good quality ink, which is one of the reasons I wanted to review it this week on the channel. Now, this next part I know may seem a little bit, well, minuscule, but I like the level of detail even on the cheaper inks that Pelikan offers. I like the single Pelikan check with the adult Pelikan, and I love how it matches the finial design that we have on at least my Pelikan M800 Stone Garden. It's a good touch, and I like that attention to detail from manufacturers. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the writing sample. We're using the Pelikan M800 Stone Garden with a broad nib, and the Endless Works Tomoe River Paper 68 GSM notebook. Right off the bat, I've got to say that this blue really reminds me of the generic school blue that you would get in a Bic pen or just one of those pens. But this ink does have a little bit more to it, and we'll see that here in a few moments. I really like the overall feel that I'm getting from this ink, and I've got to say, overall, for a generic blue, it's got a nice look to it. Now, the other kind of elephant in the room I wanted to address here is the 4001 series inks do tend to get a reputation of being extremely dry and kind of hard-starting inks. I'm not seeing that here at all. I really like the flow I'm getting, and overall, it really does appear to be a more wet ink than a normal 4001 series, or at least from what I've been hearing from other people in the community. And this kind of proves my point here. We're looking at the dry time sample, and most dry inks, with air quotes, tend to dry between the 5 and 15 second mark on Tomoe River paper. This one is taking between 20 and 30 seconds, making it a medium dry time ink, which to me doesn't really fall in line with it being a super dry ink. Case in point, when we look at the ink drops that we've got going on here, normally the ink will, at least for the super dry inks, it will contract a lot quicker than what we're seeing here. In this situation, the ink took a lot longer to contract, and it actually took about 15 minutes just to get to the point that we've got here, where it was finally dry enough to where you actually had an example to take a look at the shading itself, which, by the way, I love how this blue sits on the Tomoe River paper. If you look at the drops to the left, you can see the red sheen coming through on this basic blue ink, and I really like that trait with this ink. Can even kind of see it during normal handwriting as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at the water sample next. And speaking of the water sample, it is written on number 16 Rhodia dot pad. It's just a normal writing sample, so the pen, ink color, quick brown fox for the fun of it, and a shot glass of water. So let's go ahead and mimic our spill. Now that's definitely what I call a result. I didn't know what to expect going into it, but I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing here on the paper. So let's go ahead and talk final thoughts. This ink is probably one of the more easy to overlook inks from the Pelikan lineup. And I say that for a few reasons. Yes, on the outside it looks like a generic blue. And with it being a more budget brand ink, and an ink that tends to just come along as a freebie with some of your more expensive Pelikan pen purchases, yeah, I could see somebody just never giving this bottle a second thought. And I think that's a little bit of a shame. This ink has a nice subtle shading to it. It's got good sheen when you really get it on the paper or out of the right nib. And the water resistance is actually really surprising, especially from an ink at this price point that's not like Noodlers or something like that where water resistance is the thing. So really at the end of the day, I do think that this is an ink that you may want to actually give it a try. You can find it over at channel sponsor Pen Chalet and get 10% off by using the code INKDWELL in the radio podcast link at the top of the page. And I think it would be worth it even just tossing it in as an extra for your order. So that's going to do it for this week. Click the social links down below. Join us on Discord, Twitter, Instagram. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.